something most people are not aware of, George Washington was not the first president of the United States. There were 14 before him. This was the beginning of a fledgling country. So how many presidents was there before George Washington? There were 14. Randolph Paton, 1774 and 1775. Henry Middleton, 1774. John Hancock, 1775 to 1777. Declaration of Independence was ratified July 4th, 1776. Then there was Henry Lawrence, 1777 to 78. John Jay, 1778 to 79. Samuel Huntington, 1779 to 81, the first Constitution. Thomas McKean, 1781 to, and then John Hanson, 1781 to 82. But according to Wikipedia, there's also somebody called Thomas Mifflin from Pennsylvania. Dunder Mifflin, that's, The Office. Okay. Now, the presidents of the Continental Congress, known unofficially as the President of the Continental Congress and later as President of the Congress of the Confederation, was the presiding officer of the Continental Congress. 14 men served as president between 1774 and November 1778. They came from 9 of the original 13 colonies, 13 states. That's why we have the seal of the United States. The Congress assembled has 13 stars in it. So they came from 9 original 13 states: Virginia 3, Massachusetts 2, Pennsylvania 2, South Carolina 2, Connecticut 1, Delaware 1, Maryland 1, New Jersey 1, New York 1. The median age at the time of election was 47 years old. And the role was, the President of the Congress was by design a position with little authority. The Continental Congress, fearful of concentrating political power in one individual, gave their presiding officer even less responsibility than the speakers in the lower houses or the colonial assemblies. Unlike some colonial speakers, the President of Congress could not, for example, set the legislative agenda or make committee appointments. The President could not meet privately with foreign leaders. Such meetings were held with committees or entire Congress. The presidency was a largely ceremonial position. There was no salary. The primary role of the office was to preside over meetings of Congress, which entailed serving as an important moderator during debates. And when Congress would resolve itself into committee of the whole to discuss important matters, the President would relinquish his chair to the chairman of the committee of the whole. Even so, in fact, that President Thomas McKean was at the same time serving as Chief Justice of Pennsylvania provoked some criticism that he had become too powerful. According to historian Jennings Sanders, McKean's critics were ignorant of the powerlessness of the office of President of the Congress. The term of office, presidents of Congress served terms of no specific duration. The tenure ended when they resigned, or lacking an official resignation when Congress selected a successor. And these are the list of presidents. They are in Wikipedia concerning the President of the Continental Congress, and I'll leave a link below. List of presidents, terms and backgrounds of the 14 men who served as President of the Continental Congress before, of course, George Washington. Peyton Randolph, and he lived about, 54 years. He was from Virginia, and he served for 47 days. Speaker of Virginia House of Burgesses, September 5th, 1774 to October 22nd, 1774. Very brief period, as you can see, less than 2 months. Henry Middleton, he died at 73 years of age. South Carolina, he only had office for 4 days. Then we have Peyton Randolph. He died at 53 years of age. From Virginia, he only served there 14 days at that time. John Hancock, okay, he died about 60 years old, less than 60, okay. 2 years and 158 days. He was from Massachusetts. And we have Henry Lawrence, South Carolina. He served for 1 year, 38 days. Then we have John Jay from New York, and he died young as well. Look at that. So most of these people, all right. Anyway, He served for 292 days, 1778, 1779, Chief Justice of New York Supreme Court. Samuel Huntington from Connecticut, 1 year, 285 days, Associate Judge, Connecticut Superior Court. Thomas McKean served for 118 days, 1781 to November, just in that year, Chief Justice of Pennsylvania Supreme Court. He was from Delaware, though. Maryland, John Hanson, 364 days, shy of a year, Maryland House of Delegates. Elias Boudinot from New Jersey, again, 364 days. Okay, this was right after John Hanson. And Thomas Mifflin from Pennsylvania, following Elias Boudinot, of course, 213 days, Quartermaster General of Continental Army Board of War. Richard Henry Lee, Virginia, 339 days. John Hancock, again, from Massachusetts, 194 days, Governor of Massachusetts. Nathaniel Gorman, 241 days, Board of War. Arthur St. Clair, Pennsylvania, 275 days, Major General, Continental Army. And Cyrus Griffin, Virginia, 298 days, Judge, Virginia Court of Appeals. And the relationship to the President of the United States, beyond the similarity of title, the office of President of Congress bore no relationship to the later office of President of the United States. As historian Edward Burnett wrote, the President of the United States is scarcely in any sense the successor of the Presidents of the old Congress. The Presidents of Congress were almost solely presiding officers, possessing scarcely a shred of executive or administrative functions, whereas the President of the United States is almost solely an executive officer with no presiding duties at all. Barring a likeness in social or diplomatic precedents, the two offices are identical only in the possession of the same title. I guess that's why we didn't really learn about them. Okay. Now, nonetheless, the President of the Continental Congress and the Presidents of the United States in Congress assembled are sometimes claimed to have been President before Washington, as if the offices were equivalent. The continuous nature of the Continental Congress and Congress under the Articles also allows for multiple claims of being the first President of the United States. This would include Peyton Randolph as President of the First Continental Congress, John Hancock as President when the Declaration was signed, Samuel Huntington as President when the Articles were ratified and took effect, Thomas McKean as the first President-elect under the Articles, and John Hanson as the first President of the Articles to serve the prescribed one-year term. Hanson's grandson campaigned to name Hanson as the first President of the United States, was successful in having Hanson's statue placed in Statuary Hall in the U.S. Capitol, even though, according to historian Gregory Stuyvesant, Hanson was not one of Maryland's foremost leaders of the Revolutionary era. Presumably due to his campaign, Hanson is often still dubiously listed as the first President of Congress under the Articles. And this was the seal that they had then. It was, of course, the Great Seal of the United States. It had 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stars for the 13 colonies, of course. So this, I'll leave a link below for you for this because I didn't know until today. Well, I didn't remember anyway. But okay, these are the men that preceded George Washington. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.